Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video. We're going to be talking about a newly shown Hot Toys figure. This time it is from Avengers Endgame, kind of. It's a little bit from two movies, Avengers Endgame as well as the original Avengers in 2012, but it is the 2012 version of Captain America. This is quite cool. This is something that I think is very cool to get, especially for anybody who missed out on that first one. This is a great opportunity to get that figure now. So, I'm a big fan of the scene from the film where they go back in time, of course, and one of the best scenes in Endgame is the fight between Captain America and Captain America. It's a classic from the film, I'd say, and it's great to get a figure that represents that scene. Overall, I think that the figure looks quite nice. Let's get right into it. Head sculpts. I think that the head sculpts are both very good. You have one head sculpt. That's a great picture too. Just by the way, the two of them going at it for like that first shot of when they're running up to each other. But the unmasked head sculpt, that is technically a new head sculpt. It's a new head sculpt for Endgame. It's not the only figure from Endgame, though, using that head sculpt. It does appear to be the exact same head sculpt for the regular Captain America. This one, as you can see on the right, in his, more modern suit from Endgame when he's fighting Thanos. It's the newly developed head sculpt, and it looks good. I will say that it looks a lot better in the photos of the modern costume Captain America than it does in the flashback 2012 one. The 2012 one looks a little old. I don't know if it's just the lighting. I guess there's brighter light on it, which almost gives the hair a bit of like a silverish undertone, which ages him up a little bit. So I'm hoping in person that won't be an issue. And based on how it looks on the right here with the newer costume, it should be okay, because it looks really good on the right. On the left, it looks good, but not quite as good as the right photo, of course. And then you get a helmeted head sculpt. This is the helmeted for this version of the costume. You can see right here that is a new head sculpt, which is great. It's 100% new for this sculpt. It's not reused from the original 2012 Captain America or anything, which is really quite nice. And I think that's a solid head sculpt. I don't see anything in it that could be changed, to be quite honest. I think that it's spot on sculpt-wise. I think that it's fantastic. So I'm quite a big fan of the new head sculpt there for the helmeted look. The costume itself, I'm a little confused on. I actually can't tell if that's a newly developed costume or if this is kind of a reissue, basically, costume-wise, of the of the original one that came out in 2012 or not. I do own the 2012 version, and just looking at it, it looks identical. The only thing that gives me some pause is the boots. You could see it on the, let's see if I could just go back a picture. You can see that this ankle right here has a huge pivot to it, and it's bending the boot. The boot is more malleable than the 2012 version, because that version, the boot doesn't really move at all. Like, it's pretty solid. You can't move the ankle inside the boot. So this could be an entirely new costume design. However, it certainly doesn't look like it. So I think that there's probably new boots, but for the most part, I think it's probably just the same costume, because I literally can't tell a difference. Even the section of the kind of stripes in the abdomen section, that looks like it's made of the same material. The line work looks exactly the same, to be honest. So I'm not sure. And also, when they're describing the costume in the context or in the contents of the on like the page on Sideshow, it doesn't say newly developed costume or anything, and usually they like to differentiate between kind of reissues and new ones by saying newly developed, because they make that very clear when it comes to the helmeted head sculpt, but they don't say that with the costume, and therefore I'm thinking that some of it, if not the majority of it's reused. But again, I think that there are new boots, which is nice, and that'll enhance posability, which is good. The shield, it doesn't mention that the shield is metal. I would have liked to see a die-cast shield, though, considering the original version did not have that. That would be a great way to update it as well. I'm just going over what he has as a whole. Here we go. Here's all the accessories. You get two head sculpts, of course. You get the shield. You get a standard base, your standard selection of hands, and then the one kind of very new accessory, I'd say, is that briefcase. The briefcase, I think, is pretty cool. You might be able to use that just for other figures that need kind of a big big briefcase. I think that is an accessory that could work for several figures, and it looks quite nice. I do like it. You can fit the scepter in there. The original one also came with that scepter, so you can kind of fit it in there. It's a neat little display piece. It's not something that I think is totally needed. If that accessory jacked up the price on this guy, I'd be very disappointed, to be honest. I'd prefer just for him not to come with it. But if that's not the case, it is a nice kind of little extra. Not something that's super necessary, but it is something that does look nice. As a whole, I think the figure does look quite good. Price-wise, I think that it is a little high. It's pretty on par with what they're charging for Endgame figures, so it's not like outrageous for what they're charging nowadays for Endgame figures. However, I do think just in general that it's a little higher than I would have liked to see. The original version obviously came out almost 7 or 8 years ago at this point. Actually, that's a lot longer than I was actually expecting. But no, yeah, it came out quite a while ago, and the price difference on it is rather large, because I believe the original one was like just a flat 200, if I'm not mistaken. So the upcharge has definitely gone up. And the original one did come with 2 head sculpts. The only thing that it didn't come with that this one does is the briefcase. But it even came with the context of the contents of the briefcase anyway, being the scepter. Overall, though, I think this is a really nice looking figure. Whether I plan to get it or not, I probably won't, just because I have the original one, and I love it. I love the figure. I think it's great. And getting a second one, you know, I could actually do this pose without just duplicating it for a photo or anything. I could like legitimately do this awesome pose of them kind of running together and in this type of stance. However, I just I don't plan to be. I doubt that I'll get this one. I don't think it's worth it, just kind of for the update, especially since it's a light update, if I'm not mistaken, because a suit looks about the same. So it'll be like new boots, new head sculpts, and I think that the body is redesigned. It did mention the fact that the body is toned to resemble Captain America a little bit more. So overall, though, I think that this does look like a nice figure. If you missed out on the first one, you always wanted it, you're a fan of the 2012 style suit for Captain America, this is going to be great, and I'm sure you're very pleased to have a chance to get it, especially being an updated version of it. However, if not, there's a lot of other Captain Americas out there, and if you're looking for a more modern suit, there's obviously the other modern day Captain America from Endgame on pre-order now to pick up as well. So overall, I do think this looks like a nice figure, though. It tempts me. When I see it, I want it, but again, I think when it comes down to it, I probably won't end up picking it up. The release date on it's very far out as well. It's between April and June of 2021, which, as of today, because I'm filming this on New Year's, is next year, so that sounds good, but when you actually think about it, it's more than a year and a half away. So there's definitely some time before this figure is actually released. However, I think that the figure itself does look quite good. So let me know what you guys think of this new Captain America figure from Endgame, and thanks so much for watching.